What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about pornography in terms of the industry side of it, as well as the effects it has on young adults as well as children that are exposed to it at a young age. Also, the LGBTQ um, community or cult or ideology, whatever word you want to use there. It was recently brought to my attention. My girlfriend told me about this YouTube miniseries by Black Lantern Productions. They have this miniseries called Beyond Fantasy. It's 3 or 4 episodes, and they have this other. It's not a part of a miniseries. It's just a 30-minute video, and the miniseries is about the porn industry, and then the 30-minute video is about the effects pornography has on people that are exposed to it at a young age. We watched each episode of Beyond Fantasy, and it starts off with this dude, Max Hardcore. He died this year, March, I believe. A stroke? Can't remember. Dude was a piece of shit. Max Hardcore is this prolific male porn star that basically was the predecessor for, or the godfather of what porn consists of nowadays in terms of the content. Back then, when you look at porn from like the 70s and 80s, it's not as aggressive or just kind of off-putting as today's porn is. Porn from that era was more about just showing sex as it naturally is. There's a naturalistic kind of thing to it. Everyone had bush, and it was more sensual. It was more accurate in the depiction of what sex is actually like between two grown adults. Max was taking in women usually in their 20s, early to mid 20s, and having them dress up and pretend like they were basically 12-year-olds. And he would just essentially humiliate, say derogatory things to them, and essentially rape them. But they were acting. They had to act like they liked it. Which is what you see in porn nowadays mainly. You see a lot of incest stuff, stepmom, stepbro, my aunt. You see a lot of my neighbor's a cunt and she likes when I fuck her in the ass. That kind of stuff. And it's hyper aggressive. And Max Hardcore was basically the founder of that kind of porn. As the series goes on, it goes on to detail what the mindsets of the male porn stars, and it also details what the women go through and experience in terms of what they think porn is opposed to what porn actually is for a woman. So there's a lot of deception that goes on for the woman, for the women, in terms of they don't their agent, their producer doesn't necessarily let them on. They don't let them into what they're gonna be doing. They'll be like, "Hey, you gotta be here at this time," and yeah, that's basically all they'll say. They'll keep it very surface level. It's like, you got to be here at this time. Make sure you're all done up or whatever. And then she'll be like, "Okay, what kind of scene am I doing?" I'll be like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it when you get here." So she's thinking, "Oh, it's just gonna be average. I'm just gonna like do some doggy, suck some dick, have my pussy eaten, whatever, some basic shit." She gets there to find out. Not only is she not just having sex with one dude, she's gonna be having sex with multiple dudes. To add to that, she's gonna be getting fucked in the ass, throat fucked, all this other stuff she did not consent to. And she's like, "I'm not doing that." And then what does the dude say? He says, "Well, if you're not gonna do it, then well, you're going to get blacklisted from the industry and you'll never be able to work again. On top of that, you're not getting paid for today either. So you either do it or you're fucking done. There's no in between. So she basically has to do it. And of course, she's like, okay, well, fuck, I need the money. Then she starts doing it, and then she starts breaking down, crying because she's being fucking raped, basically. And then they're like, all right, cut. It's like, but sweetie, we're so close to being done. You just have to do just another minute, and then another fucking hour goes by of her just being raped and crying and shit. Like, sweetie, you gotta stop crying. We have to make this look sexy. You gotta look like you like it. And it's just fucking horrific. It's fucking terrible. And then on top of that, everyone that does porn has STDs. And the regulatory practices that should be in place are not there. They feign the idea that they're there. And then on top of there's this whole corruption to the industry that starts at the high up. It's like the people that are in charge of everything, they have these clinics that the porn stars go to, and the porn stars have to pay to get STD tested. So not only are they profiting off of the porn star for making the content, they're also profiting off of the STD testing, which is not that good because the testing that they could get for free is way better. It tests more areas and stuff. And on top of that, they're supposed to test your mouth and your ass, but they only test your dick and fucking vagina because I don't know, they're corrupt or something. So there's just all this fucked up shit, and you're just like, oh my god, man. And then the mindsets that these dudes have, they develop the mindset of like, they start to believe that the women actually like this kind of shit. And they start looking at them as literally, Max Hardcore's words, meat puppets. They're just objects of pleasure. They like it. They love it. They want you to slap them. They want you to spit in their mouths. They want you to fuck them in the ass. They want you to make them cry. And it's like, oh God. Huh. And what does that message send to people that view that? It's like, oh, aggression. Women like pain. They want to be discriminated. They want to be they want to have derogatory remarks said to them constantly. They want to be dominated. And it sends that message to people that are, watching porn. And people that are exposed to that at a young age are at a higher risk of so many different things. So there was this one girl in the 30-minute video that described her first relationship. I think she says she was like 16 or 17 when she started dating this guy, and they both lost their virginity to each other. And it started off nice. He was really sweet. But then after they had sex, he showed her the kind of porn that he watched. And he was like, I want to do this. And then as that kind of process transpired and continued to progress, he wanted to do more and more like fucked up shit. And one of the things he was like, what I really love is when they punch her in the nose and she starts bleeding, and then they come on their face, and then it creates like this Sunday mix. I think that's so hot. And then he's like, I want to do that to you. And then she's like, no. And then he's like, don't worry, I'll do it when you're not expecting it, because that's what I like. And it's like, oh God. Then she broke up with him. And she was like, he was really sweet at first, but then it's like the porn corrupted his mind and his idea of what sex should be. And that's the case for so many young men, because exposure to porn at a young age inhibits your ability to develop relationships, not just with women, but with yourself and with people in general, because you have a fucked up idea of what sex should be. And obviously having inhibiting factors as such will lead to self-resentment, because then you're like, well, what the fuck, I can't develop any relationships. And then the relationships that you do have start to wither, and then you sink more into yourself. And then what do? You start exposing yourself to more porn. And evil is not born. People are not born evil. There are some instances where some people are just born with some sort of brain malfunction or something, and there's just something wrong with them. But that's not the case for most people. Evil is something that is cultivated. It's something that broods in silence. It broods in darkness over many, many years. And it's just a step-by-step process. It's step by step by step. It's baby steps to doing something fucked up. It's not just one day I wake up, oh, I want to go rape women. Oh, I want to go shoot people. It's not just like you wake up. No, it's like day after day, just exposing yourself to things like this. And then what does that happen? And then what happens after that? Well, then you get higher rates of sex crimes within men, which potentially leads to murder as well. So that's what happened to Ted Bundy. He describes how he kept watching more and more porn, and then when he watched a certain amount of porn, it was like that was not enough, so he had to move up to something more hardcore, and then that wasn't enough, then he had to move up to something more hardcore, and then it just proceeded to go until he was like, well, I gotta go rape and kill women. And that's what happened with this one dude. He didn't kill nobody, but he got to the point where porn was like hardcore shit was not enough, so he had to start watching fucking child porn. And then that's like he said something cool, well, not cool, but it was insightful. He was like, child porn is like the heroin of porn. It's like there's no coming back from that. And I was like, damn. Like, it's not like he just woke up one day and was like, oh, I want to see kids get fucked, you know? It's just like, it's an addiction. It's crazy, man. I experience this even if I watch porn. Let's say I watch porn once a day for about 3 or 4 days. It immediately starts making me feel less attracted to my girlfriend. It immediately makes me think about cheating. It immediately makes me think about fucking women in my general vicinity at work. Just within like 3 days of like once a day. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'll just be chilling, right? And then I'm just like, oh. And then a fantasy pops in my head. And I noticed that. And I was like, the fuck? This shit's corrupting me. You know? Yeah, man. Fuck. And, I guess I'm just trying to develop a psychology of evil. That's something that Jordan Peterson said in his interview with the guys that made The Sound of Freedom. He's like, PTSD is not normally caused specifically just from trauma. PTSD is a mix of genre and experience with malevolence. Those two things create a concoction that ends up developing PTSD. And he's found that the way that most people overcome PTSD is by developing a philosophy of evil. And I think that that's what I've been doing over however long, by exposing myself to the corruptedness of the world, the evil of the world. Is just like exposing myself to the darker side of human nature. There's always been something so alluring to that, to me, the macabre, like the depths of depravity. Because I was recently watching this school shooter video. His name was Kip. I don't remember his last name. But there were just so many relatable things, specifically when I watch school shooter videos. I have so much empathy for these people that end up committing school shootings, because for the most part they didn't like want to they didn't want to do these things. And I felt that because I've been in so many, there's been a handful of moments in my life where I've got to the brink where I'm like, all right, I'm either going to fucking kill myself or I'm going to kill people. There's no in between. There's no fucking in between. And there's some sort of survival mechanism inside of you, whether it's like compassion, empathy, God, whatever the fuck it is. It's like, no, like, it'll get better. And you just hold on to that hope. And for these people to do these heinous things, that hope just vanishes at some point due to external factors. Had a couple external factors not been in my favor, I could have just as easily done what these people have done. Either kill myself or kill other people. And that was the case for Kip. Like, he had dyslexia, and this was in the 80s, 90s, and they weren't as vigilant or aware of these type of psychological factors that kids deal with, and how it inhibits their ability. I say that word a lot in this video, that does not allow them or enable them to learn like other children. And I felt that too when I was growing up. You're supposed to go to school and you're supposed to love to learn. You're supposed to learn to love learning. And all school did was reinforce how fucking stupid I was. And I just felt stupid. And then it developed a self-resentment, which then I projected onto other people. Because there has been instances in my life where I've bullied people or I've like hurt people physically, or emotionally or mentally when I was younger. And those fucking things hurt me, you know? That, yeah, there was this one kid. We used to make fun of him. His name was, I don't remember his name. We called him Commando because he would never wear underwear. And he was fat, and one day we got off the bus and someone was like picking on him, and then we all started picking on him, and we were throwing his book bag around. I don't think I've ever told anyone that. I don't even know his name. And I know that that fucked him up. I know that there's consequences to that. That he might still subconsciously have to deal with. And that shit makes me sad, you know? But I don't know. There was just something wrong with me. I don't know. I guess when I talked to my mom about it one time, she was like, you just didn't speak to us. You didn't tell us anything. But I was scared to tell them stuff, I guess, because I knew there was punishment. And oftentimes punishment was being isolated. They would lock me in the bathroom sometimes, and then I would fucking... There was like the shower carpet thing. It had like this maze-like pattern, and I would pretend I was in the maze, and I would just try to get out, but there's no way out of the fucking maze. Where I would go into the sink, and I would like put soap in it, and I would just make bubbles. Or I would get beat. I would get smacked in the face, or I would be beat with the belt or beat with the hand. Yeah, and I took that out on my brother too. And I still feel bad for that too. Because immediately after I would do it, I would feel like so guilty, and I would feel shitty as fuck. And there was this anger that came after that though, where I would see their weakness, and it reminded me of my own weakness, and I wanted to silence that weakness. I hated the weakness because that's how I felt. So when I saw it in someone else, I just wanted to hurt it. I wanted to hurt the weakness. I guess that's probably why it was hard for me to like cope. That's why I want to be perceived as smart. That's why I'm so pretentious with certain things that I'm passionate about, like film and music. I'm very snobbish. I'm very pretentious because it means so much to me, and I just have an issue dealing with stupidity because I don't like it. Or just like, what even is stupidity? You know, it's a matter of perception. I don't know. I kind of just went on a weird tirade there. Anyways, yeah. So I wanted to talk about the LGBTQT. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being gay, queer, bi, whatever. It's when you make it a core component of your personality and you start exposing children to it. That's my main gripe. Is these festivals that they have are like, it's family friendly, and then they have like twerking contests and stuff, and you're exposing children to that. They did a twin study where they got people from the age ranges of 60 to 80. They found that like 7 to 9% of them were gay. People in our age demographic, 18 to 20, late 20s, it was like 20 to 30% of them identified as gay. Anyways, they did this twin study. They did this twin study where they had one child grow up normal, no exposure to LGBTQ stuff, and then they had another child grow up exposed to that stuff. That child that was exposed to that stuff ended up identifying as gay or whatever. So you're not born gay. It's something that's nurtured, you know? Hey, I'm talking on my ass here. I'm just regurgitating what other people have said, and I find it to be interesting. But that's my gripe with the movement. Like back then in the 80s and 90s, people that were young in middle school, they associated their personality with a band, The Cure, Linkin Park. It was harmless. They were fans. They were engaging with something that they love. Nowadays, it's gender politics. And it's exposing children to these things, and children believe anything. I mean, not even that long ago, I was subscribed to the pimp mentality, which I believed would bring me to develop better relationships with women, which it did not, because that's not what the pimp mentality is about. It's about dominance. It's about deception. It's about all these different things. But I was in my early 20s, so that wasn't, imagine like a 13-year-old just exposes this stuff on TikTok, and that's what the issue is. There's so much of this fucking content on the internet, and children are being exposed to it, and then they're like, I might be gay, and then they don't even know what that actually means, and then that they grow into that, and it's destructive. It's fucking destructive, because a lot of these people suffer from victim mentality. It's capitalizing off of people's entitlement, essentially, specifically in our generation, because everyone in our generation, for the most part, is entitled, and they want to feel like they're important. They want to feel like they're special. They want to feel like they're contributing to something greater than themselves. So they subscribe to this fucking cult and develop a victimhood that doesn't even exist. They're delusioned. And not to say that people of this ilk, gay, bi, whatever, don't suffer from struggles. I'm sure they do. Everyone fucking struggles, right? But when you make that struggle a core component of your personality, then it's like it's a fucking issue. It's a really big fucking issue. It's like a social contagion. It's like a philosophical contagion. It's weird. It's not healthy. It's bad. Bad, bad, bad. What can we do about it? Solutions? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Supposedly, or perhaps maybe just providing counter dialogue to it, which people have been doing. Counter programming. Exposing the detrimental effects of these things, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of these people are victim of confirmation bias too. There was this one person who was like, well, in Florida they're killing adults that are gay, and it's like, no, they're not. You just believe that because you think it helps what you already believe. It's not true. A lot of these people are fucking stupid. When you watch people interview them, you're just like, there was this one girl, she was like, I like rocks more than people. And I'm just like, bitch, you are a rock. Shut the fuck up. Just kidding. But, yeah, man. I don't know. I just wanted to get all that off my chest. The sound quality for these videos are awful. I know. I was trying to listen to one of the videos. I was listening to a actual production value video, and then I listened to my video. I was like, dude, you can't fucking hear shit. You gotta watch this on like your phone or something with no headphones. These videos are not meant to be watched, I guess. They're just meant for me to journal and document my growth and things that I think are interesting, because I want to be perceived as smart. I want to be perceived as ahead of my time, because I guess I'm low-key still subconsciously fighting my insecurities, or I'm searching for I don't feel insecure. I'm just more in search of like people of similar ideals or similar interests. I'm still looking for friends. That's what I really want. Friendship. I have a girlfriend. She's amazing. But I'm lacking the friendship aspect. I've been lacking it for a while, and I know that. So I guess this is my friend talking to the camera. It doesn't talk back, which is kind of sad when you think about it. But hey, it's what it is. I just got to keep putting myself out there. Yeah, man. I don't know. Let me know what you think of that. It's the stuff that I said. I don't know. Ridicule me, criticize me, love me, do what you want. I don't care. I care a little bit. Depends. It's circumstantial. Anyways, 25, 26 minutes. All right, well, had enough of your time. If you watch this whole thing through, thank you for spending time listening to me ramble. Gonna hit that 26 mark. Come on, baby. 54, 55, 56. Hey, I love you. Have a good day.